My apologies. We're having a few technical difficulties, so let's start it all over again. Please, in the chat there, can you tell me if you're seeing me to my live people? Nice. Now I have to wait for Christine to join me again because we had to log out. So in the meantime, I'm going to introduce myself, and here comes Christine right now. I'll do this once again. Welcome and thank you to our viewers from all across the world for joining us on our 4th episode of 10 limited series of Let's Talk Live with Sandy, where we will bring awareness and give a voice to survivors of domestic violence, as well as other women and men who are looking for ways of being empowered in their lives. My name is Sandy Mack, and I am a certified life and health coach. I coach my clients on ways to become empowered after abuse, trauma, illness, health, or life setbacks, any kind. I'm currently offering 3 people the opportunity to have a complimentary 30-minute session, and it's called Step Into Your Greatness, where you will uncover 3 blocks that are keeping you from your greatness. I am the author of The Unwanted Wife, a #1 bestseller in several categories, including dysfunctional relationships, divorce, family relationship, psychology, counseling, dysfunctional relationship in families, self-esteem, self-help, just to name a few. The prequel of The Unwanted Wife, The Ungracious Daughter, is set to be released in November, and I'm excited again to announce that the mini commercial has just been completed today by my son, Kevin Shaw, who is the founder of Prime Media Group. I'm also excited, actually, I'm more than excited to introduce my guest for today, and I also have a special surprise. So my guest for today on Let's Talk Live with Sandy is my very good friend, Queen Persaud, and our very special guest will be coming up soon. Thank you so much for this amazing surprise and for joining us today on Let's Talk Live with Sandy. Christine and I have known each other for most of our lives, as our parents are great friends. We have the same Indian last name, Shobha, and we have very similar life events. We have 4 children, 3 grandchildren, and our children and grandchildren were all born around the same time. We have similar, we do the similar things, like we buy the same shoes, like I said, we got the same glasses, and like we're just very similar in our lives. And I have known Christine's children, including Mark, for all their lives. So some of you may or may not know, Christine is the mother of our, we're going to have our special guest, Canada Drag Queen winner, Mark Suknanan, aka Queen Priyanka. So please join me in giving a warm welcome to Christine, my 4th guest on Let's Talk Live series. Welcome, Christine. And before we dive into any discussion or any educational discussion, please tell our audience a little bit more about you.
Hello, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to be here with you. As Shobha says, I am also Shobha, mainly known as Christine. I'm married. I'm the mother of 4 sons, reside in Whitby, Ontario. Came to Canada at a very early age, did my education here, and I have a career at CPA Canada, which is the Chartered Professional Accountants of Canada.
Very good. And you have 4 children as well, right? And
4 sons.
4 sons. Look at you.
Yes.
And 3 grandchildren.
3 grandchildren, that is correct, yes.
Well, before we go any further, I would like to welcome my very special guest, Queen Priyanka. Yay!
Hello! Hello, how are you?
Amazing. I'm so excited to have you.
Thank you for having
that you can join us. Love to hear.
Oh, are you my auntie or something? Like, how do I?
I'm your auntie, yes. I know you since you were a baby.
Wow, did you know I was gonna grow up to be so gay?
No, but I thought you were the cutest baby ever.
I heard I was a good baby. That's what the rumors.
You were a good baby, yes. You were a good baby. I remember that because you're our family. So you know my parents very well. because your grandparents and my parents have been friends forever. So you might know them as Auntie Monica.
Of course.
All right, and Uncle Bal, right?
Yes, of course, of course,
Yeah.
of
So
course.
that's my parents. So now you remember me.
Well, yes, of course.
So we're going. What I'm going to do. Obviously, I'm surprised that you're on. So I've had questions for your mom, but I'm going to try to get some questions for you as well.
Of course, yeah.
First question for your mom is, I'm sure she was one of the first ones that realized that you weren't straight. And how did you can you both share your experience, your mom's and yours?
Okay, so I'll start. So it wasn't an experience per se, it was an observation. We have 4 sons, and you have the other 3 sons who were well into sports. They did all the boy things. But Mark, he doesn't have an ounce of blood that wanted to do sport back in the day. None. He cried when his dad took him out on the golf course. He was into drama, and the one thing that stood out was he had a lot of friends that were girls. And it was at the back of my mind that yes, this child could be gay, but I'm not sure. And to tell you the truth, I wish he wasn't gay, simply because of how cruel this world is, of the way he will be treated, even amongst our own family members. And I did not want that for him. So, just going through all of that, a part of me, I guess I was in denial. A part of me was in denial.
Yeah, and as most parents, I think that's natural.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mark, what about you? What was going through in your head at the point?
I mean, I love that I'm gay now, that's for sure. I think growing up, no one, especially I'm a 90s kid, so now it's a lot different. Kids grow up, but there's so much more education out there. But growing up in, a Guyanese household with 3 straight brothers, I didn't think of being gay ever. Like, it wasn't a thought really that I had. I mean, and even like when I was attracted to men, I thought that I was just like jealous of the way that they looked, or the way that they carried themselves, or that they were like more masculine than I was. I was kind of like, I would say that I'm like the classic story of a gay kid. Like, liked drama, didn't like sports, hung out with girls, didn't hang out with boys. What I would ask to wear my mom's makeup, but that, things like that are kind of like the telltale signs. So I would be asked a lot if I were gay, and I had girlfriends growing up too that I had feelings for. But when I look back at it, I'm like, oh no, that poor child. Like, it was just kind of like, it was like so suppressed within me, because I didn't actually think that you can be successful or have supportive parents if you were gay. Because that's whatever, you go to like whatever, like auntie's 50th birthday, and every uncle's making a gay joke, right? And so
It's
the last,
true, especially in our community.
exactly. So the last thing that you think you could ever be is be gay.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a thing that I was sitting there being like, okay, I'm really gay. I have to come out of the closet. What am I going to tell my mom? I just didn't think about it, because I like made my world my work. But what I will say as well is that although I had this journey where I was, the odd one out that liked to do entertainment, and that's, ended up being my job now, and I'm so celebrated for being a queer, gay, drag queen, etc., etc. There's some guys out there and girls out there and they thems out there that love sports and are still gay, and girls that like love to do their hair and makeup and are still lesbians. So I think that like, in a way, my mom was lucky that I was so flamboyant growing up, because it was less of a surprise. But there is so many different personalities out there. But for me specifically, it was like, when I look back, even though the photos of me as a kid, I'm always the one in the middle, like. So I kind of, it's a very interesting thing. But I think the main thing is that like my mom specifically made sure that she never asked me. She like let me kind of come to my own terms with it, because like no one wants to be asked their sexuality. I mean, I don't ask you if you're straight, so why should you ask me?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I like once she like I was that was my next question. What did you were you able to like this is for your mom? Were you able to listen and accept Mark's sexuality once you knew? And
Mark moved out when he went away for school. To college, he went away, and he never moved back home. After when he came back, I think he moved back for a couple of months, started working downtown, so he got his own place downtown, and that all started. So there wasn't a question as to like the transition now from childhood now to an adult, what he is or wasn't at this point. But I do recall one day I picked him up from the GO station to bring him home. He was coming from downtown. And
I was so nervous to get into the car, by the way.
Yeah. And he said to me on our way home, he says, "Mom, I have something to tell you." And I said, "Oh, okay, what?" And then he said, "I'm gay." And I said, "Oh, okay." He said, "Is that all you're going to say?"
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, yeah, what else do you want me to say? You're my child and you are who you are and nothing changes."
Yeah, I was trying to explain it. Like I was trying to like justify. I was like, okay, here's it's like when you're in trouble, right? You kind of like
yeah, you must have had all these things going on.
you wanna, like blame somebody else. Like it's not my fault I'm gay, it's so and so's fault But I literally was like I started to explain it to her because I had prepared this like speech, like trying to run for prime minister. And she was just like, no. Like, don't explain it to me. Like, I don't care. Like, it's not, you don't never have to explain your sexuality to people. Just kind of stop.
Yeah.
And I love you and whatever, she made it such a no big deal.
See, because you have a cool mom. Not everybody.
I got a cool mom.
Yeah.
Who still loves to dance to Tassa. So it's like,
well, I want to ask you.
I have a cool mom, but I think that she thinks before she speaks. And I think that's the main thing because I'm sure she had her doubts. Like, I'm sure she was like, oh no, like, what's going to happen to, and the one thing you want to say, she just said, like, she hoped that I wasn't gay because she's a protective parent. But before she attacked me with her thoughts, which a lot of West Indian people do because they.
Yeah, especially in our community. And that's the one thing I know about your mom. She doesn't always rapidly answer right away. She always thinks before she speaks. I've always noticed that about her.
Yeah, unless there's some rude auntie at the party saying she's not pretty.
Oh yeah, then she'll tell them off. Just like me.
Yeah, exactly.
So tell me, what does LGBTQ stands for?
You want me to answer?
Yeah, go ahead. You probably know so much more than I do.
Yeah, I mean, like every single LGBT. So when people are talking about our community, like it's like gay is just like one thing, right? So there's like LGBT stands for like lesbian, bi, gay, trans. But now there are like so many new. Now that everyone's more educated and everyone's still finding themselves, there's so many more initials that have been added to it. There's like asexual, two-spirit. Intersexuality, all these different things. So all of that, whenever you see that anywhere, all what it's meant to be is like if you're not a straight person, you are part of our community because we're trying to
include
and educate. The only reason that exists is to tell straight people what we're doing.
Yeah.
And that like somebody can be bi and date both women and men, but there's also people out there that will only date women but will still have sex with both. So there's so many different things to learn that literally, even for me, being in the community confuses me. I'm like, oh,
yeah,
So I
didn't grow up in the community.
Pardon?
Because you didn't grow up in that community.
No, I mean I went to school in Whitby, and then I went to Catholic school, then I went to college, and I didn't start going out to the gay bars until like 6 or 7 years ago, and I've been doing drag for 5. So it was like move to the gay village, start going out to gay bars, become a drag queen, quit my job, win Drag Race.
You did it.
Hey.
It is. So what's the meaning of the rainbow flag?
So I think the meaning of the rainbow is pride, hope, and dreams,
Uh-huh.
right? A rainbow makes us all happy. And so the different colors in the flag, it's meant to represent the togetherness in the LGBTQ community, because people come from all races and ages and gender. So I forgot who thought up that whole concept, but that's why the rainbow flag became the representation of the LGBT community, because of the hope that it has and the pride that it represents, hence pride.
See, I didn't know that. So it's a
Yeah.
good thing that I asked
Yeah.
you that. So when going back to you now, when you in your head you're thinking maybe this kid is gay, you said you ignored it? Did you think that it was a phase and that he was gonna get out of it?
I mean,
Um,
I thought it was a phase, that's for sure.
You thought it was a phase. No. I feel that I'm educated enough to understand that something like this is certainly not a phase. You see the mannerism, there are so many conflicting articles that you can find online where there are debates. Is it biological? Is it not biological?
Yeah.
I feel sexuality is very fluid, even not even in the human world, but also in the primate world,
Yeah.
where, we don't get to choose who we're attracted to. The one thing I read was that the gay and lesbians, homosexuality, 8 to 25% of it is based on our biological makeup, genetics. So, where you see some men, let's say men, are more flamboyant and more feminine than others, it's simply because of that genetic makeup, where they have, let's say, more of female hormones than they do male hormones.
Yeah, because in our community, a lot of people will say, "Oh, they are just bad. They're wicked. They just want to do wickedness."
Yeah. And I'm not going to deny the fact that yes, the homosexuality, when you think of like two men together, some of it could be simply curiosity.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, it's curiosity, and same with women.
Yeah.
So no, I didn't think it was a phase.
Yeah, that's good. So my next question is for both of you guys, and maybe you'll does your Hindu background or your faith clash with your feelings towards LGBTQ folks, and how do you feel?
Okay,
Personally?
so number one, I have in my head that, and I mean absolutely no disrespect to anybody, whether they're Christian, Hindu, or Muslims here. A lot of what we do, I personally feel it's cultural, not necessarily religious.
Yeah.
Right? Hinduism has taught us to love all our children, and I'm sure the other religions do that too. Love your children, doesn't matter. Let's say, God gave us these children.
Yeah.
And God gave me a gay child.
Yeah.
And so what am I going to go against God's will and throw him away?
Right.
Well, God gave you this child in our Guyanese community so that you can educate our Guyanese community on being gay.
Yes,
a gay child.
absolutely. So no, I don't have any conflicting emotions between religion and homosexuality or anything at all. I don't believe one has anything to do with the other. We are all human beings, regardless of what religion we are.
Yeah.
I have met Hindu priests that are very accepting of homosexuals. And I cannot, I'm so impressed by that, and it's just like, wow, it's a different world that we're starting to see now.
I feel and you're right, I don't have anything against any other religion, but for some reason I feel our Hindu community is much more forgiving and much more accepting of
I have to agree with some of that. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Depends on which parent you ask.
In I used to be on the board at Lady Man there. We have
Oh,
so your
she's
mom,
religious.
your mom knows. And we have people coming to our congregation of all different sexualities, and it's all acceptable. Like nobody
Absolutely, yes.
holds
Yeah.
anything against you there at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah,
You
we're
know?
all children of God, right?
Exactly. And that's what we preach. So if we're
Mhm.
preaching that, we have to practice that.
Exactly. Yeah.
So my next question is, all of us have challenges with our children,
Mhm.
straight or not. Are there any other challenges or worry that you had with Mark that you had to face because he was gay?
The only thing that I worried about was his safety.
Mm.
You know,
Even now, we were just talking about like, oh, she's going to Guyana soon, and I was like, I don't know if I want to go to Guyana. Like, am I gonna get like chopped up and killed? And she was like, oh, maybe you have to take your nails off. You know what I mean? So, but like, although it's like a joke, it's kind of a real
No,
thing,
it's not a joke.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, like
yeah,
one of the things that,
it's mostly his safety. You know, even living in the gay village before he moved, you know, to uptown now,
Mm-hmm.
you know, he would, you know, and being in drag, I used to warn him about, you know, walking from his home, walking to the club in, you know, drag makeup.
Drag. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, I just did not want that for him,
yeah.
you know, for anyone to harm him or hurt him. So that was my main worry.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, challenges, I don't think I had any challenges with him.
Yeah.
You know, he
I
doesn't
think
listen
I
to
think
me.
like challenges aren't on the kid. I think the challenges all come for the parents and getting over their
Yeah,
old-fashioned mentality. I think
yeah,
that's what the challenge is.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Were you having any, like, did you have any challenges keeping up with the terminologies in this community? And how mom, like, how did Mark, how did your mom learn all these technology? Because like, I mean, and I followed you every single step of your way during your competition,
Wow.
and your mom knows this. So like like, and I was learning as I was going, like,
Yeah.
learning all these terminology. So how did your mom, like, she was amazing mom, she was like the best mom out there on like, you know, advertising you and everything, you know? So I was so proud of her, and I was following you the whole way. So how did she like learn all these terminologies?
I honestly don't know because I only taught her what I know, but
Yeah.
I'm almost certain she knows more than I know because she took the time to like educate herself before making the judgment,
Mm-hmm.
and understanding, you know, reading an article. And I think that like when it comes to like West Indian people specifically, it's like they just like fear that like their pride, like it's a pride thing, right? Like, oh, I don't want to have a gay son because the auntie down the street's gonna talk about me,
That's
right?
right. Or yeah, or what people temple and say or all. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But I think that like, you know, once you I was on this big TV show and everyone was so supportive of me,
Mhm.
I think that like the education was right in front of you, that like it doesn't matter what your sexuality is or who you are or what you want to do or dress up as, you could still be successful, because I think that's what it like all comes down to, and wanting to educate yourself and knowing all the terminology is that like once you accept that it's a real thing and that it could be a successful thing, you could kind of view the community as a normal community to educate yourself about.
That's a great
Oh,
statement
yeah.
you made there.
And you learn
Regardless
as you
of,
go,
yeah.
just by talking to people, you know. Mark's friend and you know, the
Uh-huh.
people that he hangs out with is now part of my family because, you know, I embraced all of them. Sandy, you would be surprised that, or maybe not, a lot of the kids in this community, you know, in the village downtown, were shunned and disowned by their parents.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Especially, you know, there's so many of the Indian kids down there. Like, I go down there to Mark's show or something, and it's like I'm their god because I'm
Yeah.
here for my child.
They don't
It
have.
breaks your heart. It really breaks your heart.
Well,
Right.
Mark, I must tell you that my kids, my girls are very supportive of you. They are so excited that you're going to be on here today. Like, they've been following
Amazing.
you as well. They know you since you were a baby. And you guys need to get acquainted with each other again, because you guys used to play with each other and all that when you were little. So my other question is, has your perception, this is for your mom, has your perception of the gay community changed since Mark came out?
I wouldn't say a perception, but I think my behavior has changed. Um, you know, I'm not going to lie. I used to be part of those gay jokes growing up,
Yeah.
even in recent, before Mark came out and all of this. I used to be part of that too. It used to be a funny thing.
Mhm.
But now, no, it's not funny anymore. It's like, it's racism.
Yes.
It really is racism.
Yeah.
You know, uh, I have been around people telling, my husband was always like the number one person to make these gay jokes.
Mm-hmm.
And in the recent past, where he is around and gay jokes are being made, he would turn around and say, I'm sorry, I don't like your joke.
Good. Good.
And that is such a big step for, a man, and a Guyanese man
Mm-hmm.
of his age. And,
Yeah.
I'm so proud of him for that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I have been around people, not necessarily close friends, but I have been around people where, we're at a table having a drink and, someone makes, a homophobic remark.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say, I have said to them, are you homophobic? And, they've carried on with it. And I have picked up my glass and walked away and I said, I'm sorry, we can't be friends because I have a gay son.
Good for you.
And it's just one of those things that
Yeah.
it's like I said, it's not a perception, it's a behavior. And a behavioral change within ourselves.
But I'm so proud of you for embracing everything. I told you this before, but and I think I don't think Mark knows this, but I'm so proud of you for just embracing it and going with it and being so strong in our community. Regardless of what people would think, you're strong. So how do you navigate when someone, or like your friends or people that you're hanging out with on a party or something, assumes that he's straight? How do you navigate with that?
That was a great question.
I have voiced that, hey, I have a gay son, my son's gay. But I think with the popularity that Drag Race Canada has brought on, Mark's life,
Yeah.
there isn't much of that question any longer.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
I've had to ask myself, and I've asked Mark, and I've asked his friends, are all drag queens gay?
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
And the answer is 99% of the time.
99, yeah.
So
I think there's one drag queen in Australia that's straight.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
But so yeah, having Mark in a room amongst our friends, family, strangers, knowing who he is, knows automatically that he's gay. So
Yeah, which is kind of cool because I never thought that would be ever a thing.
I think,
Yeah.
yeah.
Remember when my mom's brother, my mom Wabi, passed away? At his funeral, it was my first time seeing, because it was right in the pandemic that it happened, 2020. And I remember at the funeral, every grandmother, auntie, uncle, cousin, nephew, step uncle, every single person at that funeral came up to me and was like, "We watched the show. We're so proud of you." And I was like,
I was there. I didn't come up to you though.
"Yeah, because you're rude." And I was like, oh, like maybe I'm the small-minded one here to think that our community, like the West Indian community, hates gay people, because I just thought that they wouldn't watch. Like I thought they didn't know.
Yeah.
But a lot of work has been done, and that was 2 years ago. So I could imagine now that it's
No,
getting
yeah.
better, or it's got better, or
Yeah.
something. So
Yeah.
they're not as bad as we think they are, but there's just always those bad apples.
That's true. And like, look, I know people who are gay and are so afraid of saying it. And like we were talking about the jokes. Back in the day, they used to make jokes about gay people
Yeah,
because they were afraid of saying that they were gay. And
yeah,
that's so sad. Like,
Yeah,
and
is.
it's sad for other people in their lives too, because on off camera, your mom will probably tell you what I'm talking about, but because I can't say it on camera.
uh-oh.
But I have very close experience with it. What advice would you give parents? This is for your mom. What advice would you give parents who are coming out and are struggling to accept their kids' identity, especially in our community?
As you ask that, the first thing that comes to mind is, would you prefer a dead child or would you prefer a gay child?
Yeah.
Think of all the suicides that we have been hearing about, that's been close to us. just recently, was it just a couple of months ago, maybe the beginning of the year, where, two young boys committed suicide in Guyana
Right.
because their parents did not want to acknowledge the fact that they're gay and they're in love with each other, you know?
Yeah, and they have that in India a lot as well.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
thing is, these days, if you really think about it, people don't care. People really do not care.
Yeah.
It's the nosy people. It's the people who have nothing to do. It's the people who want to say, oh, I have 4 sons. They're all straight. Look at you. You got 3 sons, and one of them is gay. Like, it's just small-minded people.
Yeah. Yeah.
That, and the thing is, educate yourself. We most fear the things we don't understand or know about, right? Educate yourself, understand it, see it from your child's perspective. How many of us, in your other series, wives have been in miserable, and unhealthy relationships. They don't want to be there.
Yep.
But you're stuck.
Yeah.
Think of your child going through that. Think about that fight within your child's mind.
Yeah.
And you can't want that for your child if you say you love your children.
That's right. That's right. And it brings on so much other, like, I would say, like, my advice to the parents, and I mean, if one of my kid would come now and say that he's gay or she's a lesbian, 100% I'm accepting that. Right? 100%.
Yeah, it's your child, they didn't choose to come into the world like this.
Yeah, exactly.
So embrace it, learn about it.
Yeah, and don't go out there, and I mean, this is in our community. I don't know about other communities. Don't go out there and find a wife for him or find a husband for her because you think that it's going to change it. It's not going to change it. From my experience, I know that it didn't change it.
Yeah, right? Think of how unhappy that child will be.
Yeah.
It's such an unfair thing to do to your child.
Exactly. And like people in at our age who are gay, till this day they can't tell their parents.
Yes.
They're adults with grandchildren, and they can't say that they're gay to their family.
And it's really not in our community either. In a lot of the other communities, people are faced with all of these things.
Yeah.
But no, parents need to know that their child is their child, and people that are going to talk about it, they don't matter.
Yeah.
They do not matter.
And Mark, what's your advice on children who are coming out or struggling to accept their own sexuality?
I mean, it's so hard because you fear that your parents will disown you and not talk to you, or, it's like awful because you hear about all the stories and you're kind of expecting the worst. And I've considered myself very lucky that I was able to just be like, I'm gay. My mom's like, okay, who cares?
Yeah.
Go clean the washroom now, But I think my advice to kids who want to come out to their parents is, my whole thing is like, manage your expectations. Like, if your parent is like some old miserable Guyana man who makes his wife cook him dal and rice every night, then chances are he's misogynistic and he's not gonna like that you're gay, and chances are he's gonna be really upset. Like, I like to always say that, like, you have to understand what it is you're trying to feel by telling everybody your truth and what you're expecting. Like, we see these, like my story is like a very successful coming out story, right? Like, my mom's very successful now. She's part of the community. People love her and people know her, and she's such a cheerleader. But like, some kids might be expecting that of their parents, and then that can just throw them for a loop. So I would say that, like, each child shouldn't expect their parent to just be a parent in that moment. You have to, like, really think about who your parents are as the people who they are, like what their background is, their upbringing, how when they get angry, when they get happy, to like really understand what the reaction was going to be. Like, for example, my dad, and he's life of the party, don't get me wrong, but
I know your dad.
at home, at home with me and my brothers is a very quiet guy. Like he's very chill, very
Mhm.
quiet. He'll yell at us to mow the lawn, but he'll make sure there's food on the table and he'll make sure the roti's clapped and yell at my mom for not cooking for us. Like he cares about us in a different way.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
when my dad reacted and he was very quiet and he, we haven't really like chatted about it a lot. That's
Mhm.
exactly who he was before I came out of the closet. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't be mad at him for not throwing confetti on me and saying, "Congratulations, you're gay." So I would say like I know that was a long-winded answer, but like that's my kind of best way to describe to kids to like
Yeah.
really understand your parents
Yeah.
before you come out to
Yeah.
them and
Yeah.
and lower your expectations in
Yeah.
case. And then
Mhm.
also like chosen family is a really big thing. Like my mom was saying, she's taken in so many of my friends that
Mhm.
have chosen my house that my dad pours them drinks in and my mom cooks them food in and my brothers, drive them to the train station if they need to get driven in, like all these things that you have a chosen family and like some maybe your parents aren't your real family. Like just because you're born from them, like doesn't mean they're gonna accept you. It's the same
Absolutely.
thing that just the way that I was born, didn't know I was gay and I was born this way. The same idea with family too. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
your chosen family is also very, very, very important. And chances are you'll be happier with your chosen family
So,
too.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? My kids' friends, um, I'm their second mom.
Yeah.
Like they call me mommy number two.
Yeah.
Because the things that they can do at home at my house, they probably can't do it at home. And the things that
Yeah.
they can share with me as well.
Yeah.
They
You also have to, for children wanting to come out, when you do, you have to give the parents time.
yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Oh yes, that too.
yeah,
That
you
Yeah.
need
yeah.
to give them time. They need to feel what they're feeling. They need to, you know, to maybe have a better understanding of, although it's the child that's gay, this actually changes my life too.
Hmm.
Yeah. And
Because,
you know, yeah, and you're right. They need that time to
yes, yeah.
everything. But you know,
Because, I think a lot of things starts to happen with parents. It's, oh my God, how do I tell my brothers? How do I tell my sister? Oh my
Right.
God, like, what are people going to say?
mhm, mhm.
Um, so you have to let them go through that.
Yeah. So Mark, did your brothers know before your parents know?
No.
No.
I don't think so actually. No, no, I told my mom first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
No,
then I
but
told
did
my
they
brothers.
suspect or anything? Like,
I
no?
think so. I think they kind of like they like
They
left
kind
me
of, yeah,
alone. It was
suspect. Yeah.
confusing for everybody because I had girlfriends. So like my best friend Rachel, who I hung out with all the time, she's like, yeah, people would ask me if you're gay all the time, but I'm like, you were with girls. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not your if you're a flamboyant guy that just happens to like girls, and that's all that's the thing. So there were some suspicions, but all of them were very
Oh,
bless you.
excuse me. Sorry. I
Uh,
have a cat and she hangs out on my desk sometimes.
okay.
I'm allergic to her, so sometimes I sneeze. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay. Don't worry at all.
You know, some parents, I find that they use religion to shame their kids.
Yep.
How do you feel about that?
I think it's bullshit.
I know,
I
right?
think, I mean, like, I think that, like, if you actually go back in all the religions, there's something about, like, anyone can love who they are, who they want to love. But then, like, with how corporate churches have gotten, it's all about the money.
Yeah.
It's all about the money, and they're all cults. Like, I mean, I don't mean to, like, step on the church or anything, but
Yeah.
I'm just like, when you get into a very homophobic place, chances are those are all made up rules that only a man can marry a
Yeah.
woman.
It's not in the Bible. It's not in the Bhagavad Gita. It's not in the Holy Quran.
No,
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 Made up.
exactly.
no.
So
Right?
I think
Uh,
I understand why it's an excuse because a lot of parents are reflections of their parents. So unless you break the pattern, it's not going to go away. Um, but I think it's dumb. I don't know.
Yeah.
Not religion is not dumb because people love
No, but people,
to
a lot,
pray.
a lot of,
I love Hindu because it's very like you do good, you get good back. Like
yeah,
very simple, very simple.
karma, right?
Exactly. So, but some of them religions can get weird. I don't know.
There is, there is. So, what kind of support do you think that parents need, um, like to process something like this? What kind of support, especially in our community, and what kind of support does the gay child need in our community?
For the parents who are having a hard time, I'm here.
Yeah.
Come and talk to me. Come contact me. We'll have a conversation.
Yeah. So
There are
people who
there
are
are there are groups like I don't want to call it therapy, but there are groups of parents that gets together and,
Mhm.
talk about it, talk it out, try to get a better understanding of it.
Mhm.
I'm sure there are tons of them,
Yeah.
around.
Yeah.
And it's just someone helping you to understand it better because they have gone through the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and not feeling judged for asking any
Yes.
kind of
Yes,
questions. Like I think that's
absolutely. Yes.
also very important too, because like, when I came out to my mom, she's like, "Are you gonna dress up as a girl?" And I was like, I would never."
Uh-huh.
I didn't know. I didn't know at the time. I didn't know at the time. I didn't know at the time. Um, but I think like, asking those questions like that people are scared to ask, like,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's like I would say if you're part of the West Indian community, I'm sure you know my mom, so just call her up.
Yeah.
And then for the kid, I mean, for kids that are coming out, it's like I feel like that chosen family thing is the thing. Like having people around you that have gone through the same thing is what the most important thing is. Like when I came out, I didn't have a lot of gay friends around me because I just didn't. But now that I have so many people that are gay around me, I have a boyfriend now. Like we have all these similar stories. I'm like, wow, like if we had all met like 10 years ago, we would have all been in this together, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's about a community and like opening
Mhm.
it up to people with similar experience.
I let's talk about the fun stuff. Well, when you're getting married, I better be there.
Deal.
I want to go to that
You
wedding
know,
for sure.
we have Mark says he wants a full Hindu wedding when he
Yes,
gets married,
amazing.
right?
I do.
Thank you,
And
Mark. I used to do wedding planning. I don't do it as much anymore, but any help you need. I,
Yeah.
so
you know,
let's talk about the fun stuff. Tell me your experience with the drag queen world.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, it's like it
whirlwind.
it's a whirlwind. It's so amazing. I think the most amazing part about it is that I'm very happy that my season of Canada's Drag Race aired in a pandemic because I was able to like enjoy it with my mom and
Yeah.
brothers. Like they were all so excited for me.
Yeah.
And then I think that's kind of the most amazing thing about it all is like, yes, performing across the world is amazing and putting these music videos out, like all this stuff is amazing. But my favorite moments are like DragCon when my mom came, my boyfriend was there, and we all just hung out in LA for the weekend and just like laughed and laughed and laughed. And
Yeah.
like it wasn't about me being this like mega superstar. It was about just us having this experience together because we've all sacrificed time for each other to make this happen. Right? I've missed Mother's Days. I've missed my boyfriend's Christmases. I've missed all these things, but it all kind of came to us being able to
Yeah.
celebrate it together. I would say like being as successful as I am, those are my favorite moments. And it's amazing and accomplishing what I've been able to accomplish. Like I have Guyanese people coming up to me all the time being like, "You did it
We're
for
so
us.
proud of you.
We are
Yeah.
so much more happy to be brown." Like it's amazing. I was just in the East Coast in New Brunswick and all these brown people came up to me and they were like, "You're a hero. You did it." And they're
Yeah.
like because and then, because of me, they're like now I can come up to my parents and if they say, "Oh, you'll never be nothing," they'll be like, "Well, look at Priyanka. Like you're lying." Like she did it. I could do it.
You see, you don't you're successful, and that's
Yeah.
what like that's amazing, and
Yeah.
you are true to yourself.
Yeah.
You were
I
very
was explaining to Mark and his boyfriend just yesterday that, in our community, the Guyanese community, there's this misconception about drag. And I didn't understand a thing about it prior to, Mark. I knew there were men that dresses up as women for entertainment.
yeah
But in our Guyanese community, I think men dressing up as women, they're viewed as promiscuous, as prostitution. This
yeah
is what I was trying to explain to them because that's all we saw in Guyana.
yes
Yeah.
yes
So
yes
this now, it's like, oh my God, like, that's what they're doing. But if you really look into it, it's art, it's an art form that's taking place. And I never knew that there was this entire world.
Yeah.
It was shocking to me
yeah
that so much of this exists around the world. I mean, thanks to RuPaul,
yes
we're able to learn so much about it, but it's really an art. And one of the conversation I had with my eldest son not too long ago was, when people say, Mark's in drag or Mark dresses up as a girl, to him, he sees Mark as going to work.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Mark has to dress like this to go to
Go to
work.
work.
Yeah, it's true.
But
It's
when
actually
he comes
true.
home, he's my brother. He's Mark.
Yeah,
So, it's
It's
not a big deal.
normal.
It's
Yeah.
not, yeah, it's
Yeah.
yeah.
normal.
That's amazing. So, Mark, your mom and I was just talking before we went live that I just absolutely love your makeup and
Thank
your
you.
clothes. Like I was just watching right through the whole competition. All the outfits was so amazing. So
I'm still waiting to get a tutorial on makeup, by the way.
yeah, we need tutorial on makeup, especially those lashes. I can't put lashes on for the life of me. And even my daughters, they don't know. So I want to show you something, Mark. I Auntie Monica, my mom, she used to sew, right? So
Oh
I
yes, you
I'm
did.
going to
Yes.
the Bridgerton experience.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I'm designing my own dress.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
wow, so maybe it's a good sketch.
I'm pretty good at drawing. So yeah,
Yeah, it's really good.
I love I love to dress up. I Since I was a little kid.
We know that. We know that.
I love to dress up and I love makeup. But I actually, when I was younger, I was talking to my friends. I didn't used to wear that much makeup until I got older because you get older, you gotta wear more makeup.
You don't
So
have to.
I just love your makeup. I love your lashes, the eyes, it's amazing. So
Thank you.
yeah, we need a
A lot of
tutorial.
practice. A lot. I didn't always look like that. Trust me. You might ask my mom.
It's
When
good.
I first saw Mark in drag, he was entering this competition for Miss Cruise and Tango.
Yeah, Miss Kristen Tangos.
And Cruise and Tango is one of the most famous drag bars in Toronto.
Uh-huh.
Very iconic. And I went and I looked at this child and I thought, oh dear God, I hope this is just a phase this child is going through, because he was just this ugly girl.
Aw.
But and honestly, I never voiced it to him.
Never, ever, ever, never.
No, the only time he heard it was after he won Canada's Drag Race.
Yeah.
He said he wanted to pursue it, and I supported him.
Yeah, you're an amazing mom, and not all, like Mark, not all kids have that cool mom.
Oh, I know.
You're lucky to have such an open relationship with your parents. My question is, how did Uncle G1 take it?
I saw him. I think I don't know, maybe about a year after, because he watches CP2 for all the time. So I'm always on. I'm always there. Where they're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
Priyanka's doing this. Priyanka's doing that." So he's fully aware. He knows. He's like, "Oh, I saw you on the TV the other day. I heard you won $1 million." I didn't win $1 million.
$1 million.
Hell. He loves it. I think he doesn't care. I feel like he always knew I was in entertainment, so
Yeah.
I don't think that he's shocked. I think he's like, okay, great, go. He's just happy that I'm working. Like whenever I talk to him, he's like, just keep working hard, keep working hard. You have to really show these white people that brown people can do it. Like he's very that. He's like, people are gonna look at you different because you're dark skinned, but don't worry, you just keep working hard. So
Yeah,
he's just proud that I'm succeeding.
He's a cool. And for those of you who didn't know, I said Uncle G1, but Uncle G1 is Mark's grandfather, which is my dad's very good friend. Well, thank you guys for being on here with me. I'm so
Thank you. This was
excited.
fun.
It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure.
You were gonna come
And I want to say, for any moms or dads here who are struggling, please, please, please reach out. I'd be happy to have a conversation or more conversations.
Yeah, I'm gonna put your information at the bottom of the comments so that people want to reach out to you. And I want to say to my I have a lot of kids that look up to me because I have a dance school. I teach dance, and a lot of young people are very impressionable. So I want to say to any of those young people, if you're going through such an experience, Auntie Shobha is here for you.
Absolutely, yes.
Well, thank you once again.
You are welcome.
It was nice seeing you. I have to come up to the Brock house. Don't worry.
I'm still waiting.
Yeah, I know. All right. Take care.
All right. Take care.
Thank you, Christine. Have a good evening.
Bye-bye.
Bye.